The iron age of media cometh, so saith RazörFist. Alt media, what are we talking about? It's media created, independent media created without any mainstream help, actually without with mountains of mainstream hindrance. No acknowledgement whatsoever. We're talking Comicsgate, which incidentally 2022 has raised thus far $15 million in sales for its creators. The Rippaverse recently $3.7 million. We're talking Shadowversity's Shadow of the Conqueror book. What else are we talking? Critical Drinking, Critical Drinker's book. I think it's called Dark Harvest. And indeed, this man right here, RazörFist's Night Vale series. This is alternative options for new exciting IPs outside the mainstream. It doesn't just involve comic books, obviously. It can be anything. It can be music. There's the rapper Tom McDonald. There's talk shows like Crowder. You've got news media punditry like Tim Pool, comedians, Ryan Long. I'm sure there's film. I'm sure there's games. I'm sure there's animation. You guys out there probably know more about that than I do. Razor brings up an interesting point. This is his video that he recently put out, espousing the glory that is the Iron Age media movement. He brings up some cases where people have gotten together on the internet, on YouTube, and sort of started to create momentum and movement behind them, and it's all gone awry. He talks about the blood sports phenomena that turned on itself when it ran out of enemies to fight. And, you know, there's a little bit of parallel there with what you have, the situation between Comicsgate and the Fandom Menace, where if you have like a Venn diagram, there is definitely overlap there because we both take an anti-SJW stance. But where I think CG differs from Fandom Menace, when talking to people like Nerdrotic, Geeks and Gamers, that sort of stuff, is where I think our primary focus is on the creation of new media, new Iron Age media, new comic books. The Fandom Menace prefers to primarily focus on their channels, on critiques of, critiques and reviews of whatever's popular in mainstream TV and movies of the day. Now, what is Razor's opinion? Razor's call to action in this video is to create. He says, instead of fixating obsessively on some socialistic straw man or SJW foking point, indulging in knee-jerk clickbait exclusively, create hard. Bury your adversaries in your own undeniable greatness. Give the world superior stories with better art than DC or Marvel are even inclined to deliver at present. And for those who can't create, be the beating drum at the head of the growing creative cavalry charge. Be vocal and profound on your passion for your projects you enjoy. The independent onslaught is already inbound and it cannot be quelled. Beautiful words. I literally could not have said it better myself. And I obviously agree. But in practice, and the realities of it on the ground currently in 2022, I think this whole idea does have an Achilles heel in that just making an awesome book and being vocal and passionate about the things you love, it does seem to me to be only half the solution. I want to show you guys this website here. This is Creator Go, and it lists all of the campaigns that have existed in Comicsgate. As you can see over here on the right, 15.5 million funds raised, 4.8 million in 2022 alone. You might recognize a lot of the names on this list. One of these raised over $1 million. Plenty of them raised over 500,000. You get down here, there's loads that raised over 100,000. But you also may not be aware as we go down. Look how many books there are. It actually goes down over 400. You may not be aware of a lot of these. Why is that? What's the situation there? These are the lesser known creators. Now, a lot of them are lesser known because these are amateur efforts. The art isn't as good. The stories aren't as good. The print, all that sort of stuff. that exists in here, but it's not all of them. There are some real gems in this list, highly praised within the smaller communities of especially Comicsgate. And that's the point, within small communities. How do these books here break out into the wider marketplace? The dream needs to be real. The dream of being the next Laird, the next Eastman, who's the guy who made Walking Dead? I can't remember his name for some reason at the moment. The next J.K. Rowling. That dream needs to be real. And the question remains, how can that be real for a lot of these guys here? If they do, if their comic is good enough, how can they break into that wider audience? Go out there and ask any small-time indie artist how their original character pieces of characters that no one knows about fare against their Batman and Wolverine commissions. I think you know the answer. How do these guys get more people interested in what they're creating? Now, there is an answer. Let's scroll back up to the top. Let's have a look here. So many books. What do a lot of these guys have in common? We've got Cyberfrog. We've got Blade Devil, Shane Davis, Cash Grab, his Expendables, Go to Hell, Graveyard Shift, Godlike. What do a lot of these guys have in common? Yes, up here at this end, much more likely that these are they're going to have better art. And these guys are. It's much more likely that these guys are going to have decades in the industry, building their names and their reputation and their skill, but not all of them. I mean, we've got Tug up here, that Umbrella guy, Raging Golden Eagle, Zach, Cecil. This guy here, God's Dog. I think he just has a YouTube channel. So I think a really important factor here is a lot of these guys are culture critics, or if they're not, they've built their audience talking about pretty much anything that isn't their indie IP. That's how they got eyeballs onto their creations. From there, whether their creations were something that people really wanted, that's where you get the difference between the disparity of what's really popular and what's not. So it's time, I think, we need to ask this question, being that the whole thing about the Iron Age is it's ignored, it's shunned, it's locked out, it's maligned. Look at what's been happening to Eric July. Look what happens to anyone who stands up and speaks out against the BS of the mainstream. You're kind of locked out of a lot of the infrastructure that exists that needed to be there to, say, facilitate The Walking Dead becoming, the global hit that it is, or Harry Potter, just a woman by itself writing a book, making the biggest franchise of the last 30 years. Does the infrastructure exist in this Iron Age thing that we're doing here? Comicsgate, whatever it is, in books, novels, whatever. We're selling things through YouTube mostly. Does the infrastructure exist to see the birth of the next Ninja Turtles, to come out of alt media, based purely on the reader's reaction to the IP? Is the next J.K. Rowling in here in this list? Is that possible? Or can that only happen if you already have an existing massive social media audience? That's the question. And can you even grow a massive social media audience based exclusively on the awesomeness of your IP? Do we need the mainstream to suck as hard as they do in order for us to build audiences by critiquing it? I think we do, at least for now. I want to show you my channel. So I've had this channel. I've been active on it. I had it for a while back, but I've been active on it for about 3 years. And in the last couple of months, I have branched out into more kind of culture critique videos. And in that time, I've gained almost as much subs in those few months that I have in the last over 2 years, where I focused primarily on the crowdfunding comic scene and promoting indie comic creators. And even then, if you look at my popular videos here, they're all almost exclusively me doing that kind of, you know, these aren't videos of me promoting other people's indie comics. This is cultural critique. Although there's one in there of an awesome Simpsons time lapse I did. That was a different YouTube. That was 8 years ago. Different times. Times have changed. So yeah, you know, that's where I'm at. That's what I'm looking at now. I'm getting, you know, I can get 5,000 views on a thing where I look at, you know, why the woke can't stand heroes, and I can get a few hundred on when I promote other people's comics. Now, I'm never going to stop promoting other people's comics. What I'm thinking about is I want to get more people onto my channel so that I can promote these comics to more people. That's where I'm looking at going forward. And it's not because I don't think that these stories, and it's including my own, The Lucent, it's not that I don't think The Lucent can't stand on its own two legs as a story. I know it can. It's just that getting people to pay attention to what you're doing without talking about things that they're already interested in. As an indie creator, it feels like just screaming into the void. I want readers, and I want to be able to promote my book and other books to the most people as possible. So in order to get them through the door, I am going to be offering commentary on things they're already familiar with, and then show them the Iron Age alternative. I want to go back to CG Tracker now and come down to these guys here. The smaller creators, the ones that, you know, make look at them. Some of them not even a couple of $1,000s on their books. Now, you know, I know a lot of these guys, they aren't interested in what I'm talking about. They're finding it hard enough just to make their comics as it is. Some of them even resent the fact that we have to talk about mainstream IPs like Star Wars and Marvel and DC properties. And I get it. I've been in the thick of this culture war going on over a decade now. And it's like, how many times can you complain about SJWs ruining this or that or whatever? The properties that we used to love. But to them, I will say humbly, the majority of this audience that exists out there that is supporting these Comicsgate projects, whether you want to call it Iron Age, whatever, this new movement that is building momentum. And the majority of these people wouldn't even be here if it weren't for if it weren't for the likes of your boy Zach, Ethan, Ripper, the Fandom Menace, and countless other kind of culture critics out there on YouTube, including RazörFist, talking about what the mainstream is up to and why they're going so wrong. Now, I would love it if we could just say, like RazörFist does, just be better than that shitty mainstream tripe. But I think to really make some noise, we also have to indulge, as he also said, in a little bit of knee-jerk clickbait. I think at least this is the situation that we find ourselves in 2022. We are still very much reliant on mainstream IPs to build our audiences from. You may not like it. You may like it. I know a lot of you do. I mean, just look at the numbers. Go check out a Nerdrotic stream. See how many people are watching. So yeah, a lot of you may love it. It's where we are. It's what's going on now. I've been a long time fan of RazörFist. Actually, I found out today I was unsubscribed from his channel. He was complaining about the other day. It's like, oh my god, why did you unsubscribe me from RazörFist? But yeah, I really love what he has been saying lately, whatever you want to call it. Iron Age, alternative media, parallel economy. Comicsgate is definitely part of it. I've been all in on this for years, and I am determined to climb my way up to the level of a lot of these guys I've mentioned in this video. Can we, as a movement, get this thing to where our creators are the big name draw cards? Why the hell not? Manga's doing it. And remember, originally, manga was inspired by Western comics. And of course, anyway, you don't want to bet against RazörFist.
Fuck you, I was right. Fuck you, I was right. Fuck you, I was right.
This is my comic that I'm working on. I'm doing my part. This is the comic that I believe in. It's called The Lucent Painted Death. It's the second in the Lucent series. This is just the working preview that I've got so far. These are some of the pages on the campaign that I've got up there already. It will be launching in 2023. I'm super excited for it. 90-page graphic novel. It is coming out beautifully. I'm about up to page 80 something in the drawing, so we're getting close to I want to have this all done, or at least as most done as possible that I can do before we go live with this thing. But it is taking signups currently right now. I will leave that in the description. If you want to, please do sign up for Painted Death. If you do, you'll have access to things like prizes you can win and discounts. You can get secret tier discounts on the day when we go live. Guys, if you like this video, actually, tell me what you think. Am I wrong? Am I an idiot? Tell me what you think in the comments. If you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing. Consider becoming a member. The members are helping me to pay for the creation of new Iron Age media as we speak. All right, I'll see you on the next video. Bye.